Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to First Parish Unitarian Universalist of Arlington.
We choose
to be
A liberal religious community,
welcoming
to all.
We encourage each other
on our spiritual journeys.
Support one another
through the changes in our lives
and challenge the excesses
and injustices of our time.
Called to love,
and upheld by joy.
We live our faith.
I now invite you to join me in a moment of prayer. A moment to acknowledge that this, for many of us, is a time of darkness, when efficiency breeds deficiency, and we don't have everything that we need, and we fear we aren't what we need to be. Healing presence, we pray that we may persist through the darkness. This may too be a time of renewal and of growth, when flowers again bloom, and frogs resume their chorusing, the birds their song, and the breeze no longer bites. Spirit of life, we pray that we may be restored by new beginnings. We pray for those who peacefully protested on Saturday, for their loved ones, their rights, and their country. We pray for Senator Cory Booker, who held the Senate floor for 25 hours on Monday, protesting the failures of our president. We pray for those in Gaza who have nowhere to turn, and for those in Ukraine who are in danger, far from the front line. We pray for those who create safe spaces, and for those who have finally found them. Compassionate Spirit, ground us who are ungrounded, inspire us who are restless, and show peace to those who mourn. With these words, we seek balance. I now invite you to stay for a moment of silence.
Good morning. I'm Alice Hunter again. And if you know anything about me, you probably know that I'm an incredibly busy person. Nearly every week at Candles, the youth group version of Joys and Concerns, I will begin by saying that I've had a super busy week. For me, a quiet week would include at least one, but generally two, extracurricular activities each afternoon, with at least an hour of homework a night. But quiet weeks are fairly rare, mostly because of my commitment to theater, which keeps me at school until 6 p.m. many nights and until 10 p.m. during its most intense weeks. My schedule is so busy because I care about so many things. For my coming of age credo, I wrote about not knowing what I wanted to do with my life because I am passionate about so many different subjects. I have a much clearer vision now, but it is still true that I have more interests than I know what to do with. I am also something of a perfectionist, putting absolutely all the effort I possibly can into each of my passions. This intensity has paid off. I am the current salutatorian of Somerville High School, a 6-star honor thespian in the International Thespian Society, and a black belt in Kung Fu, among other honors and accomplishments that make me very proud of all that I have done. But I also want to do nothing. I want to have time to spend with my friends when we're not immersed in a class or working hard to learn a new Kung Fu form or dance number. I want to watch movies and noodle around on the piano and read books that weren't assigned in school. I want to sit at dinner with my family and enjoy our guests' conversations without the nagging feeling that I really should be upstairs working on my statistics homework. I want time to figure out what I would be doing if I didn't have every day mapped out on my overcrowded, color-coded schedule. So, instead of going to college immediately, I'm taking a year off. My parents and I are planning a family gap year when we hope to travel around the world, having adventures and seeing new places. We're hoping to go far, but not fast. We're setting our schedule so that we have time to explore without exhausting ourselves. And I'm planning to read some books, do some drawings, take a lot of photos, spend a lot of time with my family, but also time on my own, learning how to move at a slower pace and resetting my expectations of myself. College will be waiting for me in 2026. I'm excited to learn new things, to take on new challenges, and bring my best effort to new pursuits. But first, I need to learn how to balance that with a focus on myself. By taking a break from the habitually frantic rhythm of my life to do things differently, I hope I can learn how to bring more balanced energy into my future. I know there will be more busy seasons in my life, but I hope that when I'm older, I can look back and feel that I've lived a balanced life with important, engaging work and healthy, fulfilling time off. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anton, and you may have seen me playing in the youth group band. I've played viola since 3rd grade and just recently bought my own instrument for the first time, and it was a time for an upgrade. The process of finding the right instrument was long, and I learned all sorts of things from the many enthusiastic sellers I visited. I eventually settled on and bought a viola from Klaus Violins. Recently, I got it adjusted as recommended by my private lesson teacher. This involves someone listening to the instrument, filing, shaving, and creating parts wherever needed. At this appointment, we listened to a long lesson on many things, like the difference between resonance versus projection, ring versus fuzz, and how my viola should feel to play, wolf tones, and the fine details about every component of my instrument by the luthier. This was all fascinating stuff, and I'd like to bring you all along to see what we can learn from such a beautiful instrument. First of all, the violin, viola, cello, and upright bass all have strings spanning the instrument, held up by a bridge and pinned by the tailpiece and tuning pegs. I imagine the strings are much like our own voices and beliefs as they speak, are tuned, and occasionally need replacing. I imagine the bridge is much like our brain. It makes our voice more than vibrations, but into a strong, intelligible sound. It exchanges input for output, and imperceptible changes in its structure make surprising differences in its sound. I imagine the sound post, deep in the instrument, is much like our own community that holds us up and resonates along with us. The body of the instrument is well varnished and large, and much like our own bodies, it even breathes when played. When all of these things are in alignment and perfectly balanced, we appreciate its lovely sound. When all things are balanced, the strings communicate with one another, and the harmonies layer without disagreeing. This is analogous to when we treat our minds and bodies well, and we glow. For the instrument, I learned this glow takes the form of a wonderful ring. It wasn't until after the adjustment I learned how much fuzz and dampening was layered on my instrument and how much potential it really had. Just from the slight additions, reductions, repositionings, and minor replacements, the changes on my instrument piled up to form something so balanced without being reinvented in the slightest. I believe this sentiment is really powerful, and it shows us that small changes in lifestyle and attitude can help us regain our harmony and balance. Thank you.
When have you seen balance in your life?
When life feels fulfilling, yet not overwhelming.
When I complete my wool work and chill with my friends.
I have tried to let go of being perfect at my schoolwork over the past couple of years and put some focus on other things I'm passionate about.
School, sports, theater.
I know people who appear to know their place in the world and how to maintain it. I find this comforting.
Where do you see imbalance in the world?
Dear Lord, don't get me started.
In society.
In economic divide.
Politics and justice, and not treating people equally, especially minorities.
Basically everything right now.
How do you create balance in your life?
By taking the time to relax.
Not pushing myself too much on any one thing.
If my workload is too high, I find ways to lower it, which could be by asking for help or finding time to relax.
I intentionally leave an afternoon or two every week where I don't have anything to do.
Things seem easier to balance after a good night's sleep.
What does imbalance feel like to you?
Stress.
Oddly enough, if things get badly out of balance, I get sick.
Being distractible and unable to focus.
Overwhelmed and too much happening without knowing how to manage it.
Too much.
Who or what balances you?
My pet balances me.
Cooking and friends.
This community.
Spending time with friends and exercising.
My parents. Thank you.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Lucas Fernandez, and this will be my senior reflection. No, I'm not standing on the podium. I don't have a speech written out or anything. We're just going to have fun. I'm going to say something, then we're going to sing a song together, which will be really fun, I think. First, I just want to say, if anyone knows me and has known me for a while, I think, or I'm not really the person to stand up there and like read out from a whole list of things I already typed out. So I haven't typed out anything. I'm kind of just going off whatever I think of, which might turn out bad. Whatever. And if you remember, my credo, if anyone saw it 4 years ago on Zoom, I didn't actually read anything. I did, but I did a song, and I really enjoyed doing that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with everyone here. If everyone can stand up, we're going to go over meditation on breathing. Stevie's done it with you guys a couple times, so I'm going to go teach the parts to each section, and then we'll try to put it together. So I'm going to call this middle section here, your section 1. Section 2 is the section over here, and section 3 is over here, and you guys can choose whatever section you want. All right, let me open up to it. Yeah, so you're going to start with the melody. 1, 2, 3. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. The middle section will keep doing that over and over again, right? I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Now the next section we'll go over here, and it will be the drone part. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And if we can have the melody, breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Yeah. Then I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. That's great. Now the last part will be over here. This is the descant part. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. All right, the melody editing. Then when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. All right, now the breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Next one, we'll cut out the piano completely. Breathe in. All right, 2 more times. One more time, and we'll hold that last note. Thank you all for singing this with me. It was really fun. And I just want to say one last thing before I end. I think that a lot of people, when they think of music, it can be used, like we sang Hot and Cold at the very beginning. It's a very high energy song, and it requires a lot of work and all this fun stuff, and it's a lot of, but it's very high energy. But I think another part of music that I think people should really consider a lot more is like the calm, the quiet, the more like, I guess I call it like the lush, like harmonious stuff. And I think it's really fun. And I think that music doesn't really get listened to enough, like outside of choral nerds like me. So I think that maybe that's something you should all listen to, and it's at least helps me. It is the one thing that really makes me balance. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll put on a beautiful, let's say Stars, Eric S. Involved, something like that, and it really does help me. And I think it's something you all could try. So yeah, that's my senior reflection.
I'm still Samantha Rauh, and I'm a senior in the youth group. This year, when I signed up to tutor with the Bridge Project, a school organization that pairs high school students with elementary schoolers learning English, I was hoping to be paired with a Spanish-speaking student since I speak some Spanish. Obviously, I was going to be the paradigm of clear communication and insightful lessons. Contrary to my expectations, the program paired me with a Japanese-speaking student. The extent of my Japanese skills is counting to 10 and saying a few karate moves, and her English amounted to about the same. This was going to be a challenge. At first, she would barely look at me. When I asked questions like, what color, or what animal, she would answer, blue, or cat, in such a pained, skeptical tone of voice that I felt like I was torturing her rather than tutoring her. She frequently understood nothing I said, no matter how many ways I tried to point something out or ask a question. For weeks, 45 minutes was hard to get through. The Robbins Library Children's Room felt like a dungeon in which I was trapped with my own failure to make English make sense. Our breakthrough surprised me, card games. One week, in a desperate stab at doing something other than practicing the same questions over and over, I brought a deck of Uno cards. We played almost the entire time, and it actually seemed like she was having fun. The moment that I knew we were chill was a couple weeks later when we played War, and she cheated the most blatantly I'd ever seen, giggling the whole time. Now that we finally felt more comfortable with each other, the new challenge was finding a balance between having fun and learning English. It's taken a while to get to this point, and we definitely still struggle. If she wants to take up time, she'll ask for my highlighters and underline every individual letter she's written on her homework in a different color, or after we play cards, she'll put them away slowly, one by one. Sometimes I encourage her to speed things up, or I just don't give her the highlighters, but often I just try to let it go. When we first started working together, I was so worried about being a successful tutor that I forgot that success also means communicating in our own way and being a little silly together, not just perfect English. And I've also learned from her at just as much as she learns from me. Sometimes she'll write out her name in Japanese and motion to me to copy it, and then suddenly I'm struggling with the Japanese characters just as much as she's struggling with her English letters. Reflecting on my tutoring experience, the happy medium we've worked towards achieving is something I want to embody in college and beyond. I've spent so much time this year and last year stressed about applications and schoolwork, but I'm trying to remember that I'll never get to a place I'm happy about without a little fun and whimsy. I'm so grateful to the youth group for fostering that sense. Whether it's a game of salad bowl, a cook-off, trivia, or just joking around, I love how we add silliness to the serious task of becoming kind, community-minded adults. I'm really going to miss this community next year. Thank you.